गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। सोल नेटवर्क में सभी दर्शकों का एक बार फिर से हार्दिक स्वागत है। पत्रीजी's पाथ टू एनलाइटनमेंट 2 के इस सफर में हम एक और कड़ी जोड़ने वाले हैं इस श्रृंखला में, और आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही खास मास्टर हैं जो गोवा में PSSM का, पत्रीजी का, ध्यान का, शाकाहार जगत का, पिरामिड जगत का प्रचार कर रही हैं। दोस्तों, पत्रीजी's पाथ टू एनलाइटनमेंट में हम पत्रीजी द्वारा लिखे गए हैंड रिटन मैसेजेस जो हैं उनकी चर्चा कर रहे हैं, जो अलग अलग सीनियर पिरामिड मास्टर्स हैं उनसे, और ज्ञान जो है उनके पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस जो हैं वो जान रहे हैं, सज्जन सांगत्य कर रहे हैं, उनके साथ ध्यान कर रहे हैं। और पत्रीजी की जो बुक है जिसमें उन्होंने ये सारे मैसेजेस हैं जो ये वॉल्यूम, अलग अलग वॉल्यूम्स में हम बना रहे हैं, उसके द्वारा हम स्वाध्याय भी कर रहे हैं उसका अध्ययन करके। तो आज की जो कड़ी है उसमें हमारे साथ जुड़ी हैं मास्टर प्रिसिला नेतालकर। मैं प्रिसिला मैम को आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी कि वो आए और ध्यान ले, हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें, और उसके बाद आज का जो बहुत ही खास विषय है, बहुत ही खास मैसेज है, उस पर कुछ चर्चा करें। मैम, थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग हियर। ऑल ओवर टू यू।
Thank you so much, Charu, for the wonderful introduction. And welcome everyone to Patriji's Path to Enlightenment. I thank Soul Network for bringing me on this platform and Master Pallavi for organizing this wonderful sessions which are taking place for us to understand Sir's wisdom and dive much deeper into all his handwritten messages, which were written specially by him from 2016 to 2021. And I would request all of you to please purchase any one of these volumes, because these are once in a lifetime reads. And if you read one of these books, you will be completely enlightened. So please, everyone, I would request you. And I would also like to share a secret about my own self, that I am not an avid reader, but I had the opportunity to work on these books through MB Publishing House. And I was able to read all these volumes. And I noticed the pain that Sir has taken to extract all of this knowledge from all of his recommended books. And Sir did not extract these messages for himself. He extracted them for all of us. And we must honor our Guru by making sure we read all the wisdom that he's left behind for all of us. So because of that, I would request all of you to go ahead and purchase any of these volumes and do share your feedback about the same. So today, we'll start with a meditation. We can have the music and then we share the message after that. Everyone, please close your eyes. Clasp your hands. And just observe your breath. For the next 45 minutes, just be with your own self. Let go of any thoughts come back to your normal, natural. You observing your normal, natural breath. And with your breath, your mind becomes in Continue observing your breath. Your normal, natural, soft breathing. Let go of all thoughts of day-to-day life and come back to your breath. Last 5 minutes. Continue observing your breathing. Last few seconds. Slowly take your hands, rub your palms, raise them over your eyes, and take your time. Come out in meditation. Let's move on to discuss the topic of the day. I will just share the page. So today we will be discussing lesson number 9, called Follow Your Inner Voice. So extracted this excerpt from the book Soul Lessons and Soul Purpose, and this is channel material. And he wrote this at Kailasapuri at Kartal on 10th August 2016. So if all of you can see on the left side is his handwritten message. So every morning, Sir would get up and write the message for the day. It could have been his own message or an excerpt from a book. And then after that, he would start his day. So now I will share point by point the meaning behind today's excerpt. And let's discuss the deeper wisdom in what Sir has extracted today. So the first point is, follow your inner voice, the quiet, guiding expression of your higher self. It is found in the heart, the home of the divine intelligence in your physical body. So friends, what is the inner voice? The inner voice is nothing but your intuition. And what is your intuition? Your intuition is the voice from your soul. It is the voice from your higher self. And when you silence your mind, you are able to connect with this voice of your higher self. By silencing your mind, you're able to connect with your heart. So through this message, we learn how we can listen to our inner voice and how to distinguish between the inner voice and other thoughts that come in our mind. The next point is, your interior counsel is different from the directives of your ego. It is direct, calm, and clear, and serves not only your own best interests, but the good of all persons. So over here, what the message says is that your inner voice is clearly different from the voice of your ego. Now you must be wondering how to distinguish between your inner voice and the voice of your ego. This can be done through the practice of meditation. When you practice meditation, you're able to calm your restless mind. And when you calm your restless mind, you are able to hear your inner voice. You're able to hear your intuition more clearly. And the more you practice meditation, the clearer it gets over time. It takes some time, but you eventually get there. And you're able to differentiate between the thoughts of your mind and the thought from your soul. So how to come to know exactly what is the voice of the ego and your inner voice? This is what the next point explains. It does not flatter or condemn and never tells you what to do. It only makes gentle suggestions that support your authentic path. So your inner voice is not loud. This is how you can differentiate between a thought from your mind or your ego and your inner voice. If you notice, whenever you're upset or you're angry or you're stressed out, the voice of your ego can be loud, it can be forceful, it can be emotionally charged, and it might not necessarily make you feel good. Whereas the voice of your higher self is calm, it's cool, it's clear, and it doesn't directly tell you what to do. It just pushes you onto the right path. It just nudges you towards the direction you should go. And Sir himself has said that if you follow your inner voice, you will always be happy. So this is another way to tell if you're following your inner voice or not. Are you happy when you follow that particular thought? Or is it making you upset? Or are you not feeling good after following through with that thought? So this is another way to tell between the two. And your inner voice is always aligned with your soul purpose. Your inner voice will always make you follow your soul's plan. So now let's move on to the next point. It is your soul's compass in this life, and it keeps you from becoming lost in the confusion of the world. So friends, now if we see the current state of the world, with the rise of technology, with social media, with TV and the news, the world has become a very noisy place. It is very chaotic. And you can see many people around you who are lost and who are not being able to connect with their own selves. They're confused. And it's very easy to become confused when you are in tune with that energy. So how can you come out of that? You can do this by the practice of meditation. Just go within yourself. And by going within yourself, you tap into the soul's compass. And the soul's compass will make you listen to your inner voice, which will direct you in the right path, which will direct you towards your soul's plan. And when you do that, you will gain clarity and you will no longer be confused. And as you meditate and gain that clarity, you will be able to also help other people so that they can also come out of their confusion and gain their own clarity. So let's move on to the next point. Your inner voice is not a personal one, but is instead your private connection to the divine spirit we all share. So friends, over here, you can see that everyone's inner voice is different. My inner voice might say something to me, whereas your inner voice might give you another direction. For example, my inner voice might tell me to go take a session at some school, whereas your inner voice might tell you that go and draw or make a book. But this doesn't mean that my path is less than yours or my path is superior to yours. We all have our own paths to follow. And we all have to tap into this inner voice to know what is our authentic path. So we have to make sure we do not go into comparison with each other. So which is why we need to recognize our own inner voice. So in this way, your inner voice is personal but at the same time, it is also impersonal in the sense that your inner voice is connected to the divine spirit. Your inner voice is connected to the source, to God, where we all have come from. So we are all connected to this source. We are all connected to this God consciousness. However, many of the people in the world have lost their connection because of their minds. And by the practice of meditation and by following the spiritual path, you can clear these blockages to connect with your inner voice again, to connect with your intuition again, which means that you are in connection with the source and you are following your soul's purpose. So make sure that you listen to your own inner voice and you don't compare it with that of others. We'll move on to the next page. It is available to guide you at all times. To connect to its wisdom, simply focus on your heart and listen. So here it says that we have to silence ourselves in order to listen to our hearts. So we need to remember that the inner voice is from the heart and your thoughts are from the mind. And when we listen to our heart, we are following our inner voice. Next point. In order to truly hear, you must first disengage from other voices. To begin with, stop soliciting opinions from others. So here, what are they trying to say? So very often, we go to other people for advice, or we go to other people to gain their opinions. And very often, we ignore our own opinion and go with other people's thoughts and opinions. And by doing this, we don't follow our own selves. We don't follow our own guidance because we're disconnected from our own selves or our own guidance. So we need to make sure that we first start listening to our own selves. Sir has always said that it's important to listen to everyone, but make sure you do what you want to do at the end of it. So this doesn't mean that you should ignore everyone else and only do what you want to do, but listen to everyone but also listen to your heart. What is correct for you within yourself? And see what connects with you. What other people have said might connect with your inner self as well. You never know. So make sure you go within yourself. Take some time for yourself to understand this. And in the next point, it says, do nothing before consulting your inner wisdom. So make sure you take that time out for yourself every day so that you are always connected to your inner wisdom. So do this through the practice of meditation and also through the practice of mindfulness. Now I'll give you a small example of how your inner voice might work in day-to-day activities. It is not only for big decisions that you might have to access your inner voice. It could also be in very small day-to-day activities. For example, if you are cooking some food, you're making a meal for yourself, and you're in a hurry because you don't have much time. And at the end of the meal, you taste your food and you realize that you've put too much salt. And you suddenly remember that while you were adding the salt, something inside you told you that don't add too much salt. like just add a little bit, but you didn't listen to that. So that also is nothing but your inner voice that is guiding you in a task as simple as cooking. So don't think that your higher self will only guide you in big tasks or events. It can also guide you in the smallest of tasks or tasks that you consider to be menial or not very important. But when you're mindful in your everyday life, you will access this on a daily basis. You will access this in every moment. And if you're connected at all times, you will always do the correct thing in that particular moment. And you will add that correct amount of salt in your dish. So make sure you're always connected within yourself. And Patriji has said that meditation and mindfulness are like two wings of one bird. The more you meditate, the more you're able to be mindful in the rest of your day. And the more you are mindful, the better is your meditation. So they both are feeding each other. They're both equally important. So many of us meditate very well for 1 hour, for 2 hours, but the rest of our day just goes in reacting to our external circumstances, to unnecessarily getting angry or stressed out about whatever we might be going through in our day, and we feel drained at the end of the day. So this is because we are not practicing mindfulness. We are allowing ourselves to get caught up in the outer world. So we need to make sure we also imbibe mindfulness in our daily activity. Whether you're cooking, whether you are eating, or whether you are just doing your work, just be completely onto that task. And when you do this, you will easily be able to connect with your inner voice. You will easily be able to connect with your intuition. Because when you are mindful, your mind is silent and your inner voice will come forward. The noise of your ego, the noise of your mind will settle down, and the soft voice of your inner voice will come forward for you to listen and guide you. You can do this experiment yourself in your daily life. You can practice and see. Just make an intention to be consciously mindful when you're performing any activity. And see how you're able to hear this gentle voice that is guiding you as to what to do, that is guiding you how to move forward. Or you just feel this extreme peace in your own self. So friends, please make sure you, along with the practice of meditation, you also do mindfulness. Let's move on to the next point. The higher self is subtle and does not interrupt your ego or the voices of the world. You, therefore, must tune out the external noise and the nagging words of your ego to hear its gentle direction. So, like we've already discussed, that your inner voice is very soft, very calm, very cool. And you might have noticed that on days when your meditation practice has gone really well, you feel calm, soft, cool yourself, because you're more connected to your higher self in those moments. So you have to see that what practices can you do to silence or to keep your ego down so that you're more in tune with your higher self. And by doing this, you will not only become more confident in your daily life, you will also become more in tune with your soul. So what are the other ways that you can stay connected with your higher self and your inner voice. Along with meditation, along with mindfulness, you also have to make sure that you read spiritual books and make sure you're taking in knowledge. Because by taking in knowledge, you will know how to work on your own self, how to improve upon your own self, how to improve upon your reactions to the outside world. So make sure you read books, make sure you read Sir's Daily Messages book. This is the perfect book to read, which will give you the right nuggets of wisdom in order for you to connect with your own self. So this will help you stay in tune with your soul, and you will slowly see that the number of thoughts that you used to have before your practice of meditation compared to the number of thoughts that you have now is comparatively much lesser. And as you increase these good practices more and more, your thoughts will go on reducing and you will be able to stay in direct connection with your higher self or your soul in a much easier way, in a much faster way. What do higher masters do? They are able to connect with a higher self or soul much faster than normal people. They're able to be in tune much quicker, and they're able to go within much more easily than the normal person. And this is what we're trying to achieve through meditation. We are just trying to go within ourselves and stay in tune with our higher self as much as possible. Because when we are staying in tune with our higher self, that is when our God self comes forward. So make sure that you continue all these good practices. And by doing this, like it says in the message, you will listen to your inner voice, you will listen to your intuition, and you will go in the direction that your soul planned for you to go to. That the direction that your soul decided to go to, and the whole purpose of it to come to earth was. You will follow that in itself. Next point is the ability to focus on this level is developed through regular periods of quiet reflection, contemplation, and prayer. So friends, like we've already discussed before, that this connection with your inner voice can be maintained through regular practice of meditation, through mindfulness, and also not leaving behind the regular consumption of knowledge by reading books, by watching videos, and by taking in knowledge to improve upon oneself so that you're able to smoothly deal with the outside world as well. And here, the last point is, no one can determine for you whether you are listening to your inner voice or your ego. Part of your soul's work is to make that distinction on your own. So friends, what is the entire purpose of us following spirituality in the first place? What is the whole purpose of us meditating in the first place? It is because we realize that we are going on a path that does not align with us. Our inner voice told us, we listened to that inner voice, which told us that you're doing something which is not in alignment with yourself. It is due to this dissatisfaction you feel within yourself that you slowly start seeking spirituality. You start seeking gurus. You start seeking meditation and different practices because you are in search of connecting with your own self. And what is the purpose of connecting with your own self? The whole point of connecting with your own self is so that you can connect with this inner voice as much as possible, to connect with your intuition as much as possible, so that you follow a path that is in alignment with your soul, so that you follow the path that makes you truly fulfilled within yourself, so that you follow a path that makes you feel satisfied within your own self. And by doing this, you know that you are in alignment with your soul. And only you can tell whether you are listening to your soul's voice or not. Someone else might come and tell you that this is not what you should do that. Or you should not follow this path, you should follow that path. And you also might do that for a temporary period of time. You might listen to that person and doubt your own inner voice and follow another path. But there's nothing to worry about here. There's nothing to worry. There's nothing to be concerned, even if you go off track. That is also a part of the learning. Even when you make so-called mistakes on your path, that is all a part of the learning phase. And it is only through these mistakes that we grow. When we make these mistakes, when we go off path, we start realizing that we're not being able to hear our intuition that clearly anymore. We're not able to hear that inner voice that we were able to hear before. And then we try to find ways to go back so that we can reconnect to our inner voice. And we keep going back and forth, which is all a part of the journey. It does not mean that you are failing or you're falling behind. In fact, if you go through more mistakes, if you go through more failures, you learn a lot more than not making any mistakes at all. It makes you a stronger person. So, like how it says here, part of your soul's work is to make that distinction on your own. So by doing these back and forth dances between our ego and our higher self, this is how we learn what path we want to follow and how to keep doing what is aligned with ourselves, to keep following our higher self, to keep following our soul. And that is what will bring us true fulfillment. That is what will bring us true satisfaction. And that is what will make us truly happy. So friends, this is the end of the message. And I really hope that all of you are making I think I'm not hoping, but I know that all of us are on this channel, we're watching this video because we all wish to reconnect with ourselves. We all wish to listen to our inner voices. We all wish to listen to our intuitions as clearly as possible. So I hope that everyone is also following all these practices and being able to move forward in a satisfying, happy way. And if you are not, you are still following the correct path. By listening to this message, you are here, you're listening to Sir's message, that in itself is showing you that you are on the correct path and there's nothing to worry about. And from here onwards, everything is for your soul's growth. So I will now stop sharing my screen. So yeah, that is the end of the message. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this. And I hope that you are able to take some nuggets of wisdom from what Sir has shared with us. And you're able to apply it in your own life. And do share your feedback of the same. Thank you so much.
find spirituality. We must seek spirituality, but in the everyday small things. पत्रीजी का यही हमेशा उनकी कोशिश थी कि छोटी से छोटी चीज में भी एक साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट लाना चाहिए. और जैसे आज मैम ने एक्सप्लेन किया यहाँ पर कि इनर वॉइस को हम कैसे एक्सपेरिमेंट कर सकते हैं, वेदर इट्स अ स्मॉल एक्ट ऑफ कुकिंग या स्मॉल एक्ट ऑफ फिगरिंग आउट व्हाट यू वांट टू डू. तो इन सब चीजों से हम अपनी फाइन ट्यूनिंग कर सकते हैं. और जैसा उस मैसेज में लिखा था कि हमारा डिवाइन से जो कनेक्शन है, हमारा इनर वॉइस, उसे हम और बढ़ा सकते हैं, उसकी आवाज थोड़ी सी तेज कर सकते हैं. तो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर वैल्यूएबल टाइम. Priscilla, it was really lovely to listen to you. I'm sure यहाँ पर जितने भी लोग होंगे उन सबको आज बहुत आनंद आया होगा, बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला होगा. अगर आपके कुछ भी सवाल हैं आज की टॉक के बाद, तो आप जरूर YouTube में हमारे कमेंट्स में डालिए. हम इन सवालों को मैम तक पहुंचाएंगे और जो भी जवाब है वो आपको जरूर मिलेगा. हमारे साथ आज जुड़ने के लिए एक बार फिर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आप सबसे हम कल रात को फिर 9 बजे मिलेंगे एक नए मैसेज के साथ, एक नए मास्टर के साथ. और सर जो हमारे लिए एक लेगेसी छोड़ करके गए हैं इन हैंड रिटन मैसेजेस के द्वारा, उनके द्वारा हम सर की कॉन्शियसनेस को थोड़ा और जानने की, थोड़ा और समझने का प्रयास करेंगे. Thank you so much, Prisila, and thank you so much everyone for joining today here with us. We will see you all tomorrow.